Hello there, how are you? Glad you were able to join us today for our Technology and Engineering Education virtual schoolhouse. We're going to be talking today about measuring. Our first objective is to be able to read the ruler, which is a part of the English system, not metric. This is the English system. Let's get right down into our business, and I'm going to shut this down and we'll open our measuring. Now, when we open our measuring, we are going to start by designing a ruler. And you can do this at home with a pencil, fold up a sheet of paper to make a ruler, and take another sheet of paper and use that to write on. I normally make the measurement from 1 to 0, about 1 inch, about 8 inches, and then make every segment a half inch. That keeps everything uniform. So we're going to go through this very quickly. That's when we talk about the division of an inch is usually divided into parts. We have a half inch, fourth of an inch, eighth of an inch, 16th of an inch. Okay? So those are the ones that we deal with on the middle school level. Now, when we get to high school, we might deal with 32nd of an inch, 64th of an inch, but not normally in the middle school. Middle school, we stay with halves, fourths, eighths, and 16ths. So let's get right down into business, and we will start by showing you, first of all, from 0 to 1 inch. Now, always start by counting the number of spaces. Counting the number of segments will help you to give someone the correct answer. So from 0 to the first mark, in this case, is 1/2. It's not 1/2. We just call it or refer to it as 1/2. 1/2 what? 1/2 inch. Then we have 2/2, which makes 1 whole inch. We never say 2/2. We always reduce it. You'll hear me from time to time say always reduce, always reduce. If you have an even number, if you have an even number at the top, you know it needs to be reduced. You need an odd number at the top. Once you have an odd number at the top, you're good. No more reduction is necessary. Rule of thumb, whenever there's an even number at the top of a fraction, you know that it can be reduced to improper or a lower level. You can reduce it until you have, for example, 4/8 can be reduced to 1/2. Okay? Keep reducing it. Find the least common denominator and keep reducing it until you have an odd number at the top. Let's go forward. We have a lot to do today. The next slide I want to deal with, working, is divided into fourths. Here you would count before you would tell someone the measurement of the first line. If you didn't see the numbers, you would say the first line is 1/4. How do you know? 1/4, 2/4, 4/4, 4/4. 4/4 is 1. So you can rightfully say that this is 2/4. But you wouldn't tell anyone it's 2/4. You would reduce it first to 1/2. So how would we read this? We would read it by saying 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1 inch. That's how we divide a ruler into fourths. And that's how we would read it if it were made available to us. Next one, I have the numbers for 1/8. I added in the 16ths. We didn't need them right now, but I put them in anyway. But that's just ignore them for the time being. Just count with me. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. However, when we get to 2/8, we're going to reduce it to 1/4. When we get to 4/8, we're going to reduce it to 1/2. When we get to 6/8, we're going to reduce it to 3/4. So we need an odd number at the top. See, all these numbers are odd numbers. How do we read this ruler? 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, 1/2, 5/8, 3/4, 7/8, 1 inch. That takes care of how we would read this in eighths. Notice, if you will, that the lines are different lengths. The 16ths are very short. The eighths are a little bit longer. The fourths are longer than the eighths, and the half is longer than the fourth. That will also give you a hint as to how to read this. You know, if you stop on the line here, it's the 16th. You may not know what 16th until you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know the answer is 5/16. Let's go to the 16th scale and we can see it more clearly. Here we have the 16th scale. I made all the 16ths in red. I made the eighths in green and the fourth and a half in blue. Help you a little bit until you learn to read the rule. On a real ruler, you're not going to see all these different colors. It's all going to be the same color. There will be no numbers there. You're going to have to, like the rest of us, you're going to have to memorize these. This is a good task from now to June 12th. Try to memorize all the divisions from 0 to 1. Now, they repeat themselves after 1. It becomes 1 and 1/16, 1 and 1/8, goes past 3, it becomes 3 and 3/16, 3 and 1/4, 3 and 5/8, 3 and 3/8. We don't say 3/8, we just say 3/8. We don't mention the bar. However, if we mix whole inches with fractions of an inch, we use the word and. Here, 6, we would say 6 and 1/4. 6 and 1/4. So let's go over these again, starting from the very beginning and go to the end. The first, of course, is 0. After that, we have 1/16, 1/8. Why is it 1/8? Counting two spaces. 2/16 has been reduced. 3/16, 1/4. Why is it 1/4? Because 1/4 is 4/16, but it's been reduced to 1/4, 1/4. 5/16, 3/8 has been reduced because it was 6/16. 7/16, 1/2. 1/2 have been reduced because it was 8/16. 9/16, 10/16. 10/16 is reduced to 5/8. 11/16, 3/4. 3/4 is the same as 12/16. Been reduced. We divided each number by 4, and of course we got the number. We had 12/16, so we said 3 into 12, okay, and we 3, and we said 4 in this. Let me start that one over. 12/16 said 12 divided by 4 is 3, and then 16 at the bottom, 16 divided by 4 is 16. So we got that. There we go. Been a long day, and meetings all day today. Next, we have 13/16, then we have 7/8, 15/16, and finally 16/16, which is the same as 1 inch. Again, that's how we measure all the divisions of an inch. Your task is to draw a little ruler about 8 inches long and make each segment about a 1/2 inch, and then practice reading these without seeing the numbers, without looking at the numbers. Next, part 2 we're going to go into will be how to read these without the numbers. To read these without the numbers. So draw your little ruler and see what you can do. Okay? And hopefully on the next assignment, we'll go into some actual measurements where we can look at numbers, I'll say from A to B, what's the measurement? A to C, what's the measurement? D to F, what's the measurement? Okay? We'll do that next in our next video. Until then, see you later.